everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday evening here with us on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in the wisdom of Kabbalah, you might find this channel helpful, and you'll find 3 semesters, I think even more, with an introductory to the wisdom of Kabbalah. And if that really juices up your appetite, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and join the KABU Academy and join like-minded people from probably a country or a city near you. In the interim, we're going to carry on with our usual. We've got some excerpts from, well, what's the excerpts? So it's Fighting the Evil Inclination. Selected excerpts from the sources. We're on item number 6. As you know, we've got 8:30. At 8:30, we've got the Zohar reading. So we're going to have about a half-an-hour session today, and then we're going to join the whole group in the Zohar reading and do a group action. All right, so Fighting the Evil Inclination, excerpt number 6. This is continuing from last week. One should always be in a state of overcoming. This is considered that he is always at war. As our sages said, one should always vex the good inclination over the evil inclination. And Rashi interpreted, make war with it. If a person always walks in a state of above reason, the Creator says, behold, I give him my covenant of peace. As it is written, I will hear that God, the Lord, will say, for he will speak peace to his people and to his followers, and let them not return to folly. This means that after the Creator makes a covenant of peace with the person, he has no more wars, as it is written, when the Lord favors man's ways, even his enemies will make peace with him. All right, so this is nice, quite relevant actually to what's going on in the world right now. So let's go over it again. As usual, we're reading everything twice. This is from Rabash. One should always be in a state of overcoming. So basically, we're working against our nature. In order to advance in spirituality, according to the definition of the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is to attain love and bestowal, just like the Creator is loving and bestowing, we should also attain his attributes. In order to do that, we, in our current nature, being self-love and egoism, will need to overcome every inclination that we have in order to get closer to the inclination of the Creator. So in order to get rid of our own inclination, or to be actually above our own inclination of self-love and egoism, we will have to work hard and overcome all these things and go above our nature. All right, so this is a regular state for a person who's in the wisdom of Kabbalah. So if we're studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, we should always be in a state of overcoming. All right, basically, whatever your mind tells you to do the opposite. Okay, that should work just fine. If a person always walks, oh, let me see, we're on the second sentence. This is considered that he's always at war. As our sages said, one should always vex the good inclination over the evil inclination. And Rashi interpreted, make war with it. Well, basically, we don't really have to make war with it, because if we're actually working towards the good inclination, our evil inclination is always going to pop up. So that's just going to be something automatic. All right, so if we're always trying to be good in love and bestowal, surely we're going to awaken inside of us our egoism, which doesn't want to be in that direction, because our egoism loves just one person. Who's that? Me. All right, and because of that, it's a problem. Okay, it's a problem. What can we do? If a person always walks in the state of above reason, the Creator says, behold, I give him my covenant of peace. Now, this is obviously a state that's now determined. So once a person is above all his evil inclination, then this state can happen. Okay? Because until then, you can't always go above reason. That's for sure. Because the whole path is ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs all the time. You try to go above reason, you're going to fall back into reason. You try to go above reason, you're going to fall back into reason. So this is obviously already a very elevated state. Behold, I give him my covenant of peace, which means that the Creator kind of testifies to the person that he will no longer go back into his desire to receive for himself. So it's already a spiritual state. It's already a state where he's above his desire to receive for himself. And there he has a constant connection with the Creator. For he will speak peace to his people and to his followers and let them not return to folly. So the Creator will make peace with the person, which means to come to unity with the person. So the creators and the created beings, a relationship is like in harmony, at peace, basically meaning that they're both bestowing to each other, and that's called peace. They all complete one another. Okay, this means that after the Creator makes the covenant of peace with a person, he has no more wars. That means he's done what he needs to do. As it's written, when the Lord favors man's ways, even his enemies will make peace with him. So once we elevate above all our egoistic desires, we come to a state called peace, also known as wholeness. Okay, let's go to excerpt number 7. This is from Shamati number 19. One should believe that the obstructions of the will to receive in the work come to him from above. One is given the force to discover the will to receive from above because there is room for work precisely when the will to receive awakens. Then one has close contact with the Creator to help him turn the will to receive to work in order to bestow. One must believe that from this extends contentment to the Creator, from his praying to him to draw him near in the manner of adhesion, called equivalence of form, discerned as the annulment of the will to receive. So it is in order to bestow. The Creator says about this, my sons defeated me. That is, I gave you the will to receive, and you asked me to give you a desire to bestow instead. All right, let's do it again. One should believe that the obstructions of the will to receive in the work come to him from above. So everything basically comes from above, from the Creator. But that's also natural, right? So we are created beings, and the Creator created us as a desire to receive pleasure for ourselves. So our whole nature is from above. So accordingly, if our nature is from the Creator and it is against the nature of the Creator, all our obstructions are naturally from the Creator. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so because the Creator created us, he created us egoistically. And so that's it. Okay, it's already a sold game. Okay. One is given the force to discover the will to receive from above because there's room for work precisely when the will to receive awakens. So now if we have a dot in the heart, right, only if that awakens, we have the opportunity, the force to discover the will to receive. Why? Because reality can only be perceived in between two opposite states. If I want to discover my evil, I will need to discover something good in the same level of force that is opposite to it. So if I have the dot in the heart and I put it to work in the wisdom of Kabbalah, I try to make it better. I try to better myself. And accordingly, what will happen is that my evil inclination will rise. Okay? And this is why we'll always have an equal opposite reaction. This is laws of physics. It will not change. Whenever there's a force, there's an equal opposite force. Action, reaction. And same kind of thing here. So if a person is living only in their desire to receive pleasure for themselves, they don't really see evil. They don't even really understand what evil is. They just go with the flow of the world. They say the world is bad, so I'm bad, so it's not too bad. Okay? And everybody's got an excuse, as you know. So this is something we just need to understand. Only a person who's studying spirituality, authentic spirituality, where he's actually trying to better himself by loving others and bestowing to others, can discover how much of a swamp of the desire to receive pleasure for oneself that he is in or she is in. Then one has close contact with the Creator to help him turn the will to receive to work in order to bestow, because the more I try to bestow, I understand, the more bad, evil, self-centered, only thinking about myself all the time, 100% of the time, and that's all. All right, so I begin to see that, and that starts to contradict my dot in the heart. So I have a bit of a dilemma here, and in order to fix that dilemma, I have to get some help. That help is called turning to the Creator or praying to the Creator so that he can change the evil that I have spotted inside of me right now. And that's the work we should be doing. One must believe that from this extends contentment to the Creator. So if we turn to the Creator is happy. Okay? This is what makes the Creator happy. From his praying to him to draw him near in the manner of dvekut, which is adhesion, called equivalence of form, discerned as the annulment of the will to receive, so it is in order to bestow. So if a person turns to the Creator, so that the Creator, he wants from the Creator to annul his desire to receive for himself, then the Creator is happy with that. It's like a child asking his dad for the right thing. So dad's obviously happy. I mean, imagine your kid coming up to you and saying, hey, can we buy a book? I'm dying to read. All right, okay, so that's like, well, sure, yeah, here's a dozen, okay? And that's how it is, right? So when we ask for the right thing, that obviously makes the Creator happy. So the Creator says about this, my sons defeated me. Well, what does that really mean? Well, because the Creator gave us a bad inclination, an evil inclination. And we're really working and busting ourselves to overcome that evil inclination. And the more we're working on it to overcome that evil inclination and constantly turning to the Creator to fix it, we leave the Creator no other choice but to fix it. Because the purpose of creation is to reach adhesion with the Creator. And if you ask to get to the purpose of life by understanding you need to change, then you don't give the Creator any other choice but to change you. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's called adhesion. And well, why is it called adhesion? Because what the Creator wants and what I want from the Creator become the same thing. All right, so we see with the Creator eye to eye. And that's called my sons defeated me. That is, I gave you the will to receive, and you ask me to give you a desire to bestow instead. So the whole path is just a matter of constantly asking for the desire to bestow every time I reveal something bad in me. So when we reveal bad things, that's obviously a very good thing, isn't it? Okay, because the more evil I reveal in me, the more opportunity I have to turn to the Creator, because I realize I can't change myself because I didn't create myself. We're just born here. We're just a result of the Creator's desire to create a created being which he would like to bestow to. So we basically never had a chance. I know he's asking us, okay, like out there, and that's it. So we're just living the outcome, the results of what the Creator desires. So through that process, we need to ensure that what we want becomes the same desire as what the Creator wants. When we equalize that, then we've got, how do they call it? Bingo. All right, Irina, you got a question? You got your hand up.
Yes, I do. We know the Creator, we have concealment. So as we're trying to work on our evil inclination, I figure it's easier to go faith above reason. So when do we have to work with reason then? It seems like easier. Everything goes with faith above reason. Maybe I don't know exactly what's faith above reason, but it seems like much easier work than go with the reason. When do we can use the reasoning? It's my favorite part, but
Mm.
in this
Yeah,
work, yeah.
yeah. We can only use reason when we go through an experience which enables us to understand what we went through. We have to use reason as well, but that happens as we accumulate experiences. In life as well, when we're growing up, the kid doesn't have a reason. His reason starts to build as he goes through life because he starts to make the relationship between cause and consequence. So this is how it needs to be with us. We don't understand what cause and consequence is when we're advancing in spirituality. So I have to go against my desire to receive all the time. That's going above reason because logic says, logic says I shouldn't need to bestow. Logic says I should know what the creator wants first, and then I should do it. That's what logic says, right? It's like when I'm applying for a job. When I apply for a job, I expect they give me a job description, right? They'll say, listen, this is what we want you to do, all right? And you say, you've got the ability to do that. We think that's fine. And this is what we need. This is your responsibility. And this is what you're going to get. Okay, so it's all logical. This is all within reason. I understand what they want, how much I'm going to get paid, and I'm looking at market conditions and I say, that's a fair deal, I'll go for it. With the creator, we don't know what a fair deal is because the creator is not around. So the Kabbalists are saying, listen, we understand you don't like your life at the moment, okay, because if you did like your life, you wouldn't be here, right? So we understand you've got a bit of a drama with your life. And that's fine. And the reason you've got a drama with your life is because there's a purpose to life and you're not going in that direction, unfortunately. And the more you resist going in that direction, life is just going to tear you apart. It's going to eat you up, chew you up, and then spit you out. Okay. So the Kabbalists are very straightforward. So you say to the Kabbalists, well, what do we need to do? Well, your nature is to love yourself, and you got to stop doing that. And that's just completely against reason because who's going to think about me if I don't think about myself?
Now, if I want to use reason when I attain the knowledge, but I start to attain the knowledge only when I cross the maximum, right?
Correct.
Until then, how do I work? With just faith above reason?
Yeah, until then you just go against your desire to receive,
Just
which
against it.
means, yeah, which means against any complaint you have against bestowal. Like you don't want to connect with the friends, you don't want to get close to them. Sometimes we just want to run away because the study can be really demanding. The wisdom of Kabbalah says this, look, you have to give everything and get Jack. Okay, that's what the wisdom of Kabbalah says. And the more you get into the wisdom of Kabbalah, you begin to understand that this is just like it's not Jana, this is not a good idea. Okay. You begin to think it's just a bad deal. Okay. Doesn't sound fair because if you think about what you're going to get, you're never going to get out of your egos. And in spirituality, we don't really know what we're going to get. Okay, we don't because we don't know what bestowal is. So we're going for something which we don't know what it is, pretty much from lack of choice. Because on the one hand, the dot in the heart subtly agrees. Okay, there's a subtle agreement because we have a dot in the heart. If we didn't have that, we'd never agree. I have to love for others, work for others free without anything. We'd never agree. So we have a dot in the heart that's like, hey, you know what? It's not such a bad deal because we don't have anything in life anyway. We're not happy, all right? We're not happy. I've got nothing. I don't feel like happy. I'm happy. I may not feel happy despite the fact that I even have everything. This is why you see a lot of rich people in depression. You can have everything in life and still feel like you've got nothing, okay? So the dot in the heart has this subtle agreement which says, you know what, there must be a better way to live. Okay. And then this connecting with others, a better relationship with others kind of starts to make sense. This is why when we first come to the wisdom of Kabbalah, we're like in agreement with this. Okay. This sounds okay, but that's in the beginning. Because the more you get into the study, the more bestowal the system demands from you. This is exactly how kids grow up. As kids grow up, we demand more responsibility from them. When they're kids, we don't. We do everything for them. You change their nappies, you feed them, you take their gas, you play around with them. They don't have to do anything. You're the one who's working all the time. But as they grow up, you begin to demand from them. You got to eat your food by yourself. You got to start making up your bed. You got to start keeping yourself tidy. You got to start washing up, blah, blah, blah. So as they grow up, life becomes demanding. Well, as we grow up in spirituality, spirituality starts to get demanding too.
What is it exactly more demanding? Because your IVU changes? That's what you mean?
Yeah,
Because
you are. That's right. You're going to get more egoistic and you're going to want something for the work you're doing. Right? The more you study, you're going to start want to get things, you want to discover the creator, and all of that is also egoistic. Until it dawns upon you that you've got to do everything and not expect anything.
but the work basically is the same.
Yeah, it's not the same when
Is
you
it like no?
no,
Like,
because
I'm just you're using the same tools, no?
we're always using the same tools, but yesterday's Irina and today's Irina are not the same Irina
That's hard to
because
imagine, but yeah, okay.
you're gonna change all the time. The work is the same, but I'm changing all the time. And because I'm changing all the time, I have to overcome the new state I'm in right now. This is why we can read the same article 20 times. At different times, you'll get something out of it completely different because every time you're reading it, it's a different time and it's a different you.
So before I get my first knowledge, I use only one tool, either like my desire for connection or against connection. That's the only
Correct.
tool, like I'm getting knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because by working in between the two, you begin to understand what your egoism is, what the desire to receive is, and then you can imagine what is against that as bestowed. Okay. So you begin to discover yourself as you're studying more and more, which is good because then you'll discover what's against loving others and what is against bestowing to others inside you. You begin to discover those traits that are actually against spirituality. And those are the things we need to correct, nothing else. So this is why we're always talking about working on connection, because if I want to connect with somebody, if I want to love somebody, I have to do action towards, I have to I have to do actions in order to love somebody. Okay, it's like taking care of the kids. The more I take care of them, the more I own them. So I love them more. I've invested in them. Okay, same with the friends. Now, the problem here is we don't really understand or feel what we're going to get out of it. So it has to be above reason on a recommendation from a Kabbalist who's already walked the path. So as I try to love the others, I begin to understand as my egoism grows day to day as well, that this is not such a good deal. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the strength for this. I don't have the desire for this. I don't have anything for this. And that's how it should start to grow in me. And then until you come to a state where you understand you've got nothing in you, not a gram that's in favor of loving others.
You said you discover new traits. Is it like unusual traits or like just the traits that you know, but they're like growing into different stage?
It,
Like,
it's
are
it's
any unusual traits you
no, no,
discover?
it's basically the inside of us, the traits that we have against doing good things towards others. It's
Oh,
against
okay.
love
So
of
it's a
others.
good one. So okay, thank God.
Yeah. It's always going to be it's always going to be against the love of others. You know, so against the connection, against the love of others, against bestow. I will not want to bestow or love others. Now, a lot of people out there on the street, they say, oh, I love everybody. Okay. And they say that genuinely, but they've never really tried to love others to the utmost degree. So they don't really know. Okay. And this is why they say, you know, oh, I love everybody. Well, have you ever tried to love everyone? I mean, this is work. Okay. So this is very naive and childish for people to say that, which is fine. But when you're studying spirituality, you're focusing on giving up from yourself for the benefit of others. And this is something you will not agree with. Nobody can agree with. So the more sacrifices I'm giving, I understand I get nothing, but I'm constantly giving. It's like working for free. Okay. So our egos will not agree. And that's basically how it's going to pan out. But as we see more and more of this disagreement, then we have the opportunity to make a comparison towards what I should be or what I would like to be according to what I'm studying in the wisdom of Kabbalah and what I am. And as I see that the desired me in spirituality and the real me, I begin to see that the gap is growing all the time. That I'm really, really far from where I should be in spirituality. And this distance then becomes like this elastic band. You know, you can only stretch it to a limit until it snaps. And that snapping point is where the prayer comes out. All right. It'll make sense as we study more and more. You'll see. And if we invest more and more, we'll find out and we'll discover that we'll come to this breaking point where I discover so much in me, which is against good, against the good inclination, that I'm like 100% bad. And it brings a person to a cry because on the other hand, you begin to understand the benefits and why you should bestow, why you need to get there, but you can't get there. You're in this big dilemma. And that is when the man has this breaking point, a person has a breaking point, and that's when he can pray or she can pray.
It's like when you're standing before Mount Sinai, and that's like basically what you do during that. It's like exit from Egypt, what you just described.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're standing in front of Mount Sinai.
Not there yet,
no?
but just before exiting Egypt, where you just have to cry out because you feel like nobody else can help you except the Creator himself.
But this expanding part, that's during Egypt?
Yeah, it's like on the edge of Egypt, but we're going to be going through that state on every degree as well, because you're going to need the Creator every time. Yeah. You're going to feel like you want to get out of Egypt every time you go back into your egoism. So getting out of Egypt is the initial state, but we're going to discover far more.
Egypt.
Yeah, we're going to discover far worse than Egypt later on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 8:30 Zohar reading. So we're going to join Nei Baruch, and we'll see you guys next time, next Tuesday. All the best.
Thank you very much, Mutlu.
That's okay. Bye-bye.